It's been 24 hours since this assassination attempt on Donald Trump in Pennsylvania at a rally. And I think, from the looks of it, it seems as though Trump may have just cemented his presidency in the eyes of the populace. People love him. Think about it. He is a man among the people. People are calling him Maximus. They're saying they went ahead and discredited him, put stains on his name by making accusations, giving him 34 felony counts, getting his mugshot taken, and now an assassination attempt upon his life, getting actually shot in the ear, standing up on stage, pumping his fist, saying, fight, 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 with the American flag blowing right behind him. I mean, this is an iconic moment in history, and it seems that that might be the case. But as I was looking at the evidence, details, many of the videos that you guys have seen circulating across the internet far and wide, something in particular stood out to me about all of this information that I want to point out to you. Now, I'm not going to press upon you my ideas, my view. What I'm going to do is share what I have found specifically in the protocol of the Secret Service. And from this information, I want you to tell me if what their protocol says matches up with what actually took place at this event. And from that information, you can decide for yourself whether this was staged, whether if it was just a coincidental failure on the part of one aspect, or if this was a setup and this was a hit that was put in place strategically, maybe by the three-letter agencies, maybe by the Clintons, maybe by the Bidens, maybe the World Economic Forum, maybe the Soroses. Who knows? What I'm suggesting to you is that you simply listen to the protocol and make that determination for yourself. So I want to break down for you what deviated from the stringent operations and tactics or protocol that the Secret Service has in place for events just like this. Now, number one, when it comes to these types of events, especially for a former president or somebody who's a presidential candidate, they would go out and conduct standard procedure. Number one, perimeter security. It says the Secret Service establishes security perimeters around the venue. This includes monitoring and securing rooftops and high vantage points within a few hundred yards, typically 200 to 300 yards at minimum, okay, to prevent any potential threats. So essentially what they're saying is 300 yards and in, okay, they would secure everything around, rooftops, low levels, everything. There would be security at all these different access points. If there's any access to rooftops, etc., those would be shut off. They'd be prohibited. There would be personnel in place to protect and prevent anybody from gaining access or going atop of those roofs. Okay, that's number one. Number two, advanced surveillance. It says Secret Service advanced teams conduct thorough surveys of the area days or weeks before an event. Okay. They identify and secure potential threats, including rooftops that offer a clear line of sight to the event. That's number two. Number three, counter sniper teams. It says these teams are strategically deployed on rooftops and high points. Okay. Their job is to observe and neutralize any threats before they become imminent. Now, what's interesting about this is we've seen the video and the picture of the two snipers that are sitting up to the right-hand side, off to the right-hand side, directly behind Trump, okay? And they had this guy in their sights for a good length of time. Now, there's speculation concerning this because there's been some posts that have been put up, which I'll put up on the screen right now, where they said that one guy actually came up and said, hey, I'm one of these snipers, and we were calling for the shot, saying we had him in our sights, and they would not do it until he fired, and basically then we responded at that point. Which is interesting if that is, in fact, true, okay? But that's number three. Now let's go to number four of this. It says local law enforcement coordination. It says the Secret Service works closely with local law enforcement to extend the secure perimeter, ensuring all nearby buildings and rooftops are covered, meaning that they would have coverage. That if they extended their personnel to their limitations, that they would then employ local law enforcement in order to get upon those different places, coordinating with them, right? Credentialing them, verifying them, vetting them, and then putting them in those positions to provide additional security. Now, number five, it says access to rooftops and buildings within the secure perimeter is heavily restricted. Only vetted individuals are allowed and entry is controlled throughout the event. Interestingly enough, there was a Home Depot style regular old ladder, painter's ladder, that was posted up against a wall. And this is how this guy was able to gain access. And we're going to talk about a few things in just a moment. So I want you to think about this because despite the stringent protocols, despite this, the shooter managed to fire from about 150 yards away. How was he able to do that? 150 yards away, eyewitnesses and attendees saw this guy getting on this ladder and going and scaling up to the roof. They told police, they told Secret Service agents who were right there, and they waved it off as a non-issue. Now, one story I did hear that these people said a police officer actually saw and heard, and so went up onto the ladder and immediately saw the shooter when he popped his head up. Shooter pointed his rifle at him, boom, and he retreated down. And that's how he was able to turn and fire off a couple of shots. And maybe that was the issue for the inaccuracy and not being able to finish off the job, in this case, assassinating President Trump. Now, I want you to think about this. This person potentially saw the shooter and retreated, okay? But why was none of this said right away? So I don't know if this is just speculation or if it's legitimate. Now, shockingly, okay, instead of evacuating President Trump, which is protocol, the protocol is shots fired, Secret Service rushes the stage, they put him down, they go out, they immediately take him out, they get him out of there. But in this case, they stand him up as if they're waiting for a secondary shooter of some sort to potentially have a shot at him. Now, it's an iconic moment. You know, he's pumping his fist and all that. But in the reality of the security world, from experts and people that I've talked to now, this was a major threat. It was a complete and total failure. Or was it intentional? So think about that. Combined with the weakening selection of security forces based on someone's image or perceived personality traits, instead of going out and finding somebody, rather, who actually has been in real life situations, real life combat, who they know has been vetted and can be in those positions because they know how to handle themselves under pressure. It's like a natural thing for them. They're in their element when they do these things. They're picking people based off of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Nonsense. Instead of thinking about the protection for a president. I mean, look at this right here. I mean, here's these three women. And no diss on women. But look at this. This one couldn't even holster her weapon. She's visibly shaking. You're supposed to be poised and ready for these type of situations if you're at this level of security detail. Are you kidding me? And this other one is more concerned about fixing her shades and putting them back on to fit the image. They have no idea what they're doing. So you're telling me the security who went out weeks before failed at realizing there was these different accesses to rooftops. You're telling me that once they set up the detail, that they didn't see this ladder and they didn't have their own personnel on those rooftops, and that was just a misstep? And that when this gentleman finally was in the sights of two snipers, that they didn't just hit him and take him out, but they waited until he shot first and then returned fire and eliminated the issue? And then once Trump is hit and he goes down, he's pulled back up and stood there on stage instead of immediately rushing him off to his motorcade and getting him the heck out of there. And then you have these three bozos who have no idea what they're doing, couldn't even put the gun back in a holster. I mean, come on, you couldn't put your piece back in? I think through and through, the more that we look at this, okay, why weren't there drones in the sky monitoring the situation to see that somebody was on a rooftop? I mean, there's so many different rabbit holes in different areas that we can go down in terms of the intricacies of what actually took place. But what I realize is this, in my opinion, can in no way be a misstep, a mistake. This cannot be a staged situation now that we know who the shooter is, et cetera, et cetera. This, in my opinion, which I am not pressing upon you, my mind logically sees this and processes this as a hit piece. It was clear to see that this was a setup. It was positioned, it was put together. There were either one or two or several moles on the inside, but something was done because like they say, everybody's got a price. Something was done, maybe from the three-letter agencies that had this come together as a piece to take out Donald Trump. And here's my thoughts on it as well. It's a blessing. It is crazy that he's still alive, number one. It's almost divine in a sense. But to say that this is just a one-off incident and it's not going to happen again, and this is not me fear-mongering to you. This is me saying that the reality is if these guys are willing to try this, they are going to go for broke. And as a matter of fact, I want to show you something. Hey, all the different various platforms have been trying to shut me down and censor me for speaking freely and for bringing truth, which I have a team on deck. We are preparing a defamation suit because of what has occurred. We have verifiable evidence. And because of you guys supporting so much, I thank you. Look, for all of you who have been wanting to donate, you can hit the link in the bio and do that. But listen here. So some things have been circulating saying that Biden put out this tweet saying that they need to put Trump in a bullseye, that he's done with the debate. Well, the whole tweet aspect was false. That was a lie. Somebody photoshopped that and put that up and tried to use it as a means to coerce people in the truth movement to just grab this and post it without really verifying the facts, the validity to this. Where it actually came from was an article from Politico. And I'm going to post that link down below so you guys can get access to that. But here it is. I'm going to put it up on the screen right now so you can see this for yourself. This Politico article is very important because interestingly enough, well, it was posted on various places on X and different platforms. It was wiped, but it was pretty easily recoverable. And I want to show this to you for those of you who have not seen this yet. Okay. And it says, this is exactly word for word what it says. Joe Biden said this. He said, I have one job, and that's to beat Donald Trump. I'm absolutely certain I'm the best person to be able to do that. So we're done talking about the debate. It's time to put Trump in a bullseye. Whether that was some code word situation to try to incite an MK Ultra style situation to activate somebody, who knows? In my opinion, this was a hit piece, but I digress. I am simply coming to present to you this information, showing you what the Secret Service protocol is and what actually took place. Do you really think an agency with this much tenure, experience, attention to detail, all of the various aspects of who they are, the number one security detail in the world, is going to fail at one of these things as a mistake, two of these things as a mistake, three, four of these things, multiple instances of mistakes that occurred? Or is it more plausible to believe that in this type of situation, this was a strategic, intentionally designed target to assassinate a man who the populace has said we want to be president? I'll leave that for you to decide. Drop your comments down below and let me know. And let's continue to fight for freedom, truth together. Look, you can also follow our new page profile, which is at Fight the Psyops. That's listed right here. Make sure, I'm going to put it up inside of the comments area as well. Make sure you guys follow. Make sure you support what we're doing. We can't do this without you. We continue to press the battle to the gates. Until next time, continue to fight those psyops.